Hello class, my name is Devin Beebe, and today we will discuss nonverbal communication. Nonverbal communication is defined by any means of communication without the use of language. This includes actions such as gestures, facial expressions, tone of voice, and eye contact. It's only very few examples. Today we will go over a type of nonverbal communication, its purpose, and the difference between nonverbal communications within cultures and why that's significant to us. Kinesics is the study of how people communicate through body movement. This includes facial expressions, eye contact, posture, gestures, touch, distance, and even the clothing on someone's body. Each of these examples are intricate and have their own field of study, but all fall under the way we communicate with our body. This way of communication is complicated and difficult channel to interpret. All of these channels of communication are diverse and use a different aspect of the body to convey a message. A characteristic they all have in common, which determines their classification, is that they're all expressed non-linguistically, meaning they do not use spoken language in order to be expressed to a receiver. For example, if Professor Johnson were to spot his mother leaving the house with makeup, he may assume that she's going to a social event. Communicating through the body serves many purposes, one of which is creating and maintaining relationships. All purposes of nonverbal communication are important, but creating and maintaining relationships with others is the most important purpose that kinesics serves, because just like it's impossible not to communicate, it is impossible not to have relationships with others. This is because the moment you communicate to someone, a relationship with that person is formed. Knowing how people communicate using their body is important in terms of creating and maintaining relationships because nonverbal cues reveal our attitudes towards others. For example, if Professor Johnson were to go on a date and attempt to hold the hand of the person he was with, and in response, that person took their hand away, this could communicate a variety of things. This could mean that the person he tried to hold his hands with isn't ready. It could mean that they don't like Professor Johnson, or it could mean that maybe they're too warm and they're trying to cool off. These examples show how extremely different interpretations can be, which is why it's important to know how kinesics affects creating and maintaining relationships. Nonverbal communication requires adaptation depending on where you are. Different cultures use nonverbal cues differently than others. In terms of kinesics, different cultures use their bodies differently to communicate. It is imperative that you understand how a culture communicates using kinesics. Someone who is ignorant and attempts to enact a kind gesture may display the most offensive gesture possible within that culture. For example, in America, the way we sign okay, using this and using this. For example, in Mexico, if you were to okay sign, which is what this would mean in America, in Mexico, this sign means sex. And in Brazil, it is an obscene gesture similar to the middle finger in America. In Iran, the thumbs up is similar to an obscene gesture, such as the middle finger. All three of the places I mentioned are considered dangerous by standards of America. And if you were to go there and possibly make a mistake with, the wrong person, it could have negative consequences. It is impossible not to have relationships with others. So learning how to create and maintain them properly is a vital part of communicating. Kinesics is especially important because the eyes are attracted to things that exhibit movement. Learning different signs of kinesics creates intuition, helps to manage the identity, and can be used to create respect. In order to observe this, today we have gone over a type of nonverbal communication, its purpose, as well as why it is important to learn about nonverbal communication besides our own. With this tool, the key to creating and maintaining relationships is realized. 2 questions I have to create discussion for the class. What characteristics does all nonverbal communication have in common? And what differences in culture and nonverbal communication that you are aware of besides my okay signs?